Pompey Sound, your hourly update from Fratton Park, sponsored by Piglet's Pantry, the home of award-winning and handmade food on the South Coast.
Paddy Lane has left Pompey to join League One side Reading for an undisclosed fee. The 24-year-old Northern Ireland international forward scored 14 goals in 84 appearances after signing from Fleetwood in January 2023. He was a key member of the side that stormed to the League One title in his first full season at the club, netting 12 times. Blues boss John Mazzino said, "Paddy was one of the first players through the door when I arrived at Pompey and made a big impact on the team. We will certainly miss his presence, both on and off the pitch, but this move will hopefully provide him with the regular first-team action he deserves. He played a big role in getting this side to the Championship and, for that reason alone, is sure to get a good reception whenever he returns to Fratton Park. We will certainly miss his presence, both on and off the pitch, but this move will hopefully provide him with the regular first-team action he deserves." Lane started his senior career with Hyde, and later turned out for Fleetwood prior to his arrival at Pompey. He appeared 22 times in the Championship last term, with his final Blues goal coming in the New Year's Day rout of Swansea on the South Coast.
I thought he was solid. I thought he was absolutely rock solid at Pompey. We were delighted when he made it through to full international level. He's still only very young, so there's potential there if he has what it takes to fulfil that potential, to go on getting better. I've seen a few things on social media. People are sad to see him go, but at the same time, the most common comment appears to be that he didn't step up, or he didn't come on, he didn't develop. He needed to thicken up for the Championship. He was a slight player. I do remember one game in League One, he was man of the match, and therefore he got paraded in all those underground bars that you have at Fratton Park, where people who pay that little bit extra get perks, such as to stand in the same room, crowded room, as the player who is man of the match. And he was chuffed, he was exuberant, he was buzzing. He had a huge boyish grin on his face. He loved it. He loved what was going on in his life. And he had the world at his feet, I thought. But towards the end of last season, talking on Pompey Sound to our other correspondents about players that are solid and will need in the coming season, whenever I said that Paddy Lane was one of those, there would be a silence from my colleague, whether it was, I don't know, Steve Bone, Dan Shaw, Dean Adams, Sam Stone. They didn't agree with me, but didn't want to say so. We tend to steer clear of brainless confrontation on Pompey Sound. We may do some other things that are brainless, I don't know, but we're polite to each other. We have that as, I hope, one of our qualities, that we are just a little bit cut above some of the other media that surrounds Pompey, and broadly speaking does a great job. But we have our niche, and that is it. So there's me thinking that Paddy Lane was all right. But my colleagues all thought that there was some sort of writing on the wall, and they were absolutely right. Whilst they will probably concede that Paddy had a lot to offer and still has things to offer, the fact that he's gone doesn't surprise them. One thing that strikes me, I'm sure it does you too, listener, and that is that he turned out against Reading, didn't he, in the friendly? I'd love to know how much he knew about the possibility that he was about to be sold to Reading. Was it being seen as, we'll wait for the announcement, we'll wait to sign the cheque, or however the payment is made these days, until we've had a good look at him on the pitch against us? Then we'll finally make our mind up, and we'll finally agree on the undisclosed fee. Hate that. Getting fed up with that undisclosed fee. I know why they do it. They do it because they don't want other clubs to know how much or how little they have to spend, because the other clubs may therefore add another naught to a player that the club that's doing the spending is interested in buying, if they think it's a rich club. But it leaves the fan in the dark. We used to love it when we knew that somebody was sold for £155,000, and there was that great thing that Jimmy Greaves was bought from Italy to Spurs by Bill Nicholson for £99,999. because Nicholson didn't want the albatross of being the first £100,000 footballer around Jimmy Greaves' neck. But to know those things, it meant a lot to the breakfast conversation as you were consuming your cornflakes and reading the back pages of your newspaper. It was an interesting and solid thing to take on board, because it was a measure of how good a player is. And when everybody's the same fee, right, because that's what an undisclosed fee is, the same fee, then you don't have that measuring stick. So, Paddy Lane, we wish you well. If we see you back, and we might, then you will get a good welcome. You definitely won't get the brickbats. And thank you for what you did. You made a contribution to Pompey's best season for a long time. You were always fun. John Messino alludes to that. You were a commodity on the pitch and off the pitch. And long may you remain so. Paddy Lane. See ya.
Portsmouth have secured a season-long loan deal for Swansea's Florian Bianchini, ramping up their championship transfer activity. The versatile French forward joins Pompey from their league rivals pending international clearance, in a move that coincides with Paddy Lane's departure to League One outfit Reading. Bianchini, who joined Swansea from Bastia last summer for around £1.95 million on a 4-year deal, found the net 3 times in his 38 appearances for the Welsh side. Though he only started 8 championship matches, he becomes Pompey's 5th summer signing, following the earlier arrivals of Adrian Sejacic, John Swift, Luke Leroux, and Mark Kosnowski at Fratton Park.
So with this one, it's caught the fan base rather by surprise, rather like the signing of Luke Leroux. We knew nothing, there was no gossip, there was no rumour, the name wasn't dropped in anywhere by anybody. It was all done in the highest possible secrecy. Swansea apparently are acquiring a top-rated forward, which means that Bianchini is surplus to requirements. So it's a move that suits Swansea. If he's prepared to play second fiddle to Colby Bishop, which of course all our forwards are second fiddle to Colby Bishop, you've just got to take it on the chin. But allegedly he's versatile and can play out wide. John Messino, we know, likes players who can do 2 or 3 jobs, not just as starting positions, but in the course of the game. If the coach figures that Pompey will be better off with 5 in the middle, then he can move somebody from the back 4 up to midfield. He can get one of his wing backs to drop in and play alongside the holding midfielders, because they know how to do the job, because they're versatile. If he's versatile, it can mean that he's a bit of a jack of all trades, or it can mean that he is perfect for the kind of pre-total football that we've discussed on Pompey Sound could well be John Messino's target. It could well be his game plan, not for this season, but to develop it this season, and then perhaps the season after, or maybe even the season after that, assault the Championship and then the Premier League. This, of course, is the El Dorado. With a completely new style of playing the game, a new way of playing the game, not dissimilar to what Pep Guardiola is alleged to have done during the heyday years at Man City, which is to play with a false centre-forward, with no centre-forward, basically. I live quite close to a central defender who played against Manchester City and said there was no one to mark. Day in, day out, game day, match day in, match day out. Centre-halves know exactly who they're up against. They're on chatting terms with the other side's main striker, number 9, centre-forward, call him what you will, you know what I'm talking about. But Guardiola did away with that. So it left opposing defences in a bit of a quandary about which bit of grass to stand on. And John Messino may well be working towards some variation on the time-honoured total football, which the Dutch probably played more perfectly than anybody else, although a couple of club sides got quite good at it down the years. So we got this boy in, he's versatile, and we're letting somebody go, and we're discussing that elsewhere on Pompey Sound.
Portsmouth's academy prospects are making waves in pre-season, with young midfielder Fraser Thomas leading the charge of emerging talent. Head coach John Messino has been particularly impressed by Thomas, a first-year scholar who's been turning heads this summer. The 16-year-old has put in several eye-catching performances, including a man-of-the-match display in the 5-0 win at Farnborough, where he helped set up Zach Swanson's opener. He's since featured in matches against Crawley and Hawks, consistently showing his quality. In the recent Hawks match, Thomas caught attention with his confident runs through midfield. "Fraser's been brilliant," Mousinho said. "He's not just a holding midfielder, he's got that attacking instinct of an 8 or 10, and loves driving forward with the ball." Anyone who watched him at Farnborough saw that firsthand. The Hawks game showcased Pompey's youth depth, featuring 5 second-year scholars alongside 3 first-years like Thomas. Even more remarkably, 4 under-16s stepped up and looked right at home at senior level. "What really impressed me was seeing those under-16s hold their own," Mousinho added. "They hadn't even trained with us before, but they competed brilliantly against experienced opposition. These pre-season games are vital for spotting talent. Just look at Harry Cloud, who earned his contract after catching our eye in similar circumstances last year. The future looks bright for Portsmouth's academy, with Thomas leading a promising crop of youngsters eager to make their mark on the first team."
Yeah, it's happening. The academy is happening. There's no doubt about that. It's happening because it's been carefully structured and caringly nurtured, and it's taken time. What we need to know, where's the handful of people who call themselves Pompey fans who are baying for the Eisner's blood because they allege that they broke a promise that they made, a clear oath that they would pour resources into the academy and it would become a conveyor belt, like that old Manchester United one. I think that the Beckhams and the Nevilles and the Scholeses of this world have got a lot to answer for, because they've left a lot of football fans who don't have a vestige of patience to believe that there should be local youngsters. We've seen them in the park playing. They're good. They should be coming through the academy and taking their rightful positions in a blue shirt at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, even though they've just had their 14th birthday. Sorry to get on my high horse about it, but there's a lack of realism about a handful of vociferous football fans. It's not just Pompey fans, football fans, who have this affection for the notion of local youngsters coming through the ranks. And the simple fact of the matter is you can only work with what you've got. And when I was running junior football, clubs were not allowed to approach young players who lived more than, I think it was 50 miles away from the ground of the club. So you're limited like that for a start. But obviously, if you're Chelsea or Manchester United or Liverpool, there are ways round that. I'm not suggesting that they break the rules. I'm suggesting that they know how to use the rules to their advantage, so that the cream of the cream are skimmed off before a club such as a League Two club, which we were until very recently, and a League One club, which we were until very, very recently, is at the back of the queue. And we're joined, aren't we, by John Swift for this coming season, a player who the academy found and nurtured. We're still not clear at Pompey Sound whether he jumped ship because Chelsea obviously offered him greater possibilities than Pompey. Or the other way of telling that story is that the academy couldn't see his potential and let him go. Actually, we shouldn't care. Let's just celebrate the fact that we've got John Swift in a blue shirt for the first time. He plays for Pompey every 19 years or so. So it works. Those youngsters are there. They can be spotted. They can be brought through. But it requires an awful lot of talent and understanding of human nature to work out which are the players who have that potential, who have a big future at the top end of professional football, and those which aren't quite going to make it. And unfortunately, if you aren't quite going to make it, then you are going to spend your footballing days playing on windswept parkland grounds with one man and his dog watching. There's not an awful lot of difference in ability and potential between those that make it and those that don't. But there is an awful lot of difference in the way the story ends up being told. There is a paternalism, I believe, in some people, not just men, but men and women have a paternalism about the youngsters coming through the ranks. They somehow see them as surrogate sons and nowadays daughters of their own. There is nothing so vociferous as a football dad or mum. There is nothing more passionate, really. The dads and mums who watch their youngsters on a Sunday morning are more passionate than the faithful at 2 to 3 on a Saturday afternoon. I'm not. exaggerating that. I had a year as a junior FA referee. I'm here to tell you, it's a fact. It's undeniable. The passion that is provoked by the paternalism and nowadays maternalism for those youngsters that are out there wanting the best for them as well as the team. These fans are noble people. They want the best for their children, their surrogate children. They want to see them come out in the blue shirt as a fully fledged first team pick, a starting 11 pick. That's what they want to see. It will make them feel that the world is as it should be. And we have to applaud that. What we don't applaud sometimes is the misguided methods that they believe might achieve success in this quest, this personal quest of their own. But bottom line on this one, it doesn't take a genius to see that the academy is coming.